Hey guys, welcome to another video. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to remove a transmission out of a second-gen Dodge Ram. Behind me here, I got a 1995 Dodge Ram 2500 with a Cummins in it. I'm going to be removing the transmission and rebuilding it in order to put it in my Ford. That's my Fummins project. Subscribe to watch more videos on that. So if you're a second-gen Dodge owner, you're probably going to have to remove your transmission sooner or later, especially if it's factory, because they are pretty weak in factory form. And you can save yourself a lot of money by doing it yourself. It's not that hard. The only special tools you really need is a transmission jack. So I'm going to start by removing the front and rear drive shafts, and then also I'm going to remove the transfer case. I'm not going to film the drive shaft removal or the transfer case removal because I already have how-to videos on that. I'll link them in the description. So if you don't know how to remove your front and rear drive shafts, I have a how-to video on that. And if you don't know how to remove your transfer case, I also have a video on that. So check those out if you don't know how to do that, and then come back to this video and we should be on the same page then. So I'm gonna go ahead, remove the drive shafts, transfer case, and then we'll start filming. All right, so I got my drive shafts removed. I also got my transfer case out. That top nut on the transfer case can be a little bit tricky, but just have patience, you'll get it. So the next thing we're gonna wanna do is remove anything still connected to our transmission, such as our transmission lines, our shift linkage, our main wire harness. Since this is 1995, it's a 47RH, so it's gonna have a older 3-pin square harness, and then if you got a 96 to 02, it'll be an 8-pin round harness. So we got to get that removed, and then anything else that is hooked up to a transmission. Might be forgetting a couple things, but it's pretty self-explanatory, nothing too tricky. So that's what we're going to be doing next. All right, so we're looking at the transmission now. This is the driver's side. This is where like your shift linkage is, and I think the first thing I'm going to do is remove my transmission lines. There's one towards the front of the transmission, and then one right there towards the back. We'll just use a regular open-end box wrench to get those off. As you can see, my lines have been kind of hack job fixed before, so I might just cut these, let it drain, and then take my lines off. All right, so I got a 7/8 inch wrench on that line, and we'll start loosening it up. And I'm gonna have to do this off camera. It's kind of hard to film and do this at the same time. Alright, so I think I got it finger loose now, and it's gonna probably leak all over, so I got my pan ready. Alright, so we got the one line off. It's kind of getting caught up in our shift linkage here, so I'm gonna go ahead and take that off. There's like a cotter pin right here. We're just gonna pull that. That'll come right out. Alright, so I got my shift linkage off from up here. I think I'll just leave it on to the actual shift lever because it's not really in the way of anything, so it'll be good enough. If you want, you can pull it out too. Just pull straight up. I'm just going to leave it there and take it off, and it's on the ground. Not a big deal. So the line that's running towards the front of the transmission is a little tricky to get to, so we're going to get off with this 3/4 inch crow's foot. Just a little tight in there, even for a stubby. So this should work pretty well. Just like that. And as you can see, that's working pretty well. Just keep doing that till it's off. And there it is, guys. Make sure you got a pen ready. Alright, so we got the lines off. Next thing I'm going to do is take this nut off and remove the rest of our shift linkage. And guys, that's just an 11/16. Just like so. Alright, so I'm looking at the back of the transmission on the driver's side here. We got to take our, this is the lever to engage 4-wheel drive. We got to take that bolt off and that bolt off to get this whole bracket free from the transmission. And the bolts for the mounting bracket for the 4-wheel drive is a 5/8. There's one, there should be one more. And here's a little bit better view of that, guys. I took that one off just now, right behind there. And that's the other bolt I gotta get out, so I'll take that out off camera here. Alright guys, so I got that off. You can either unscrew the ball inside the cab and pull this off completely, or just zip tie it to the side or something just to get it out of the way. And then you can remove your TV cable. That just clicks right off of the male end on the transmission. Alright, I just want to show you guys this quick. Right there, that's my main harness. This being a 47RH, there's just going to be 3 wires going there. So if you got a 96 to 02 47RE, it'll be a round 8-pin plug. Anyway, I just got those 2 left to pull, and we can move on to the torque converter bolts. Alright, so I just want to show you guys this quick. I'm on the same side of the transmission. I just pulled my main wire harness. I still got to take that out. But if you look up, there's a zip tie that's holding all these wires onto the transmission, just kind of to hold the wire in place. You want to make sure to get that off. You can either cut it or just pull that zip tie straight up. You can see underneath there, just pinch it with the pliers and just pull it out. But that's one of the things that you can forget to do, and when you're loading your transmission, it'll just kind of give you troubles. So make sure to get that. And this is actually just a plug. You can just pop that right off. Alright guys, so I got everything removed from my transmission. We can go ahead and remove the torque converter bolts. So if you look on the passenger side of your pickup, kind of below the turbo, I'll point it out with this wire so you guys can see what I'm talking about. There's a rubber plug right there, a little round rubber plug. That's where your engine barring tool goes in, so you can bar the motor over so you can access each of the torque converter bolts. And right above it, that is a cover. It's held on by 2 10mm bolts. We want to remove that cover, and that will allow us to take out our torque converter bolts. I do not have an engine barring tool, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a wrench on the nut of the alternator and bar the motor over that way. Sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, I'll just go right on the harmonic balancer and bar the motor over that way. Easy enough. So but yeah, that's the next thing we'll do. We'll move that inspection plate right there, 2 10mm bolts, take that out, and I believe there's 6 torque converter bolts that we need to get to. So that's what we'll do next, and you probably want a helper for this. Oh, these haven't been taken off in a while. Alright, so as you can see, there's the first torque converter bolt in sight, and I'm able to bar the motor over using the alternator nut. I'll show you guys that. There's one. Okay, yeah, bar the motor over. I think you can see it from where you're at. Yep. Alright, so we have all 6 torque converter bolts out, and what we did to bar the motor over, like I was saying, we just went right on the alternator nut with the ratchet, and that's how we barred it over. Sometimes that doesn't work and you'll have to go on the harmonic balancer, but that's not a big deal either. And it's really handy to have 2 people do it. It goes a lot quicker. Alright guys, so now we're getting down to it. We just got to pull our 6 bell housing bolts, and we can't forget about our dipstick tube either. The top bell housing bolt on this side holds the bracket for the dipstick tube, and the tube will just pull straight out. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my 14mm to remove the bell housing bolts. I'm going to leave the bottom 2 until we get the cross member off and get the jack supported, and then we'll take the last 2 out and pull the transmission. Damn it. Yeah, and I never drain the transmission because I'm too lazy, so we have to grab a pan and drain what's about to come out. Alright, so I lied. There's actually 8 bell housing bolts. There's one right on top up here. And you're not going to be able to see it in the camera, but you should be able to find it if you feel around. I'm going to try to get it with this 3/8 drive with the 3-inch extension. There it is. Alright, so we're on the driver's side. I loosened that one up already, that bottom one. We got one below the starter, one right above the starter, and then one above that. So these ones are kind of the funnest ones to get. As you can see, guys, I'm using this S-style wrench. It's by far the easiest way to get that top bolt above your starter out. You can get a socket on this one actually, guys. That S-wrench was nice to break it loose, though. You don't really have a lot of room to swing a handle with your linkage kind of in the way there. Alright, so we got one more to get. Okay, so we just got that very top one left. Alright, that bolt up there, guys, that's the one I'm really kind of struggling on. And I've taken transmission on the second gen before, and I can't remember where I got that, but I moved these wiring harnesses out of the way. They're clamped down with that one of those zip tie style clamps. So I moved that out of the way. Hopefully I can get up there now. I can get on it, but it's really hard to break it loose with the ratchet without popping off it. So we'll keep trying here, and I'll let you guys know how I got it. So this is how I ended up getting it. I had to get a pretty long extension and a swivel because you just couldn't get the ratchet to move enough to break it loose. So I did that, and then I brought the extension down a little bit to where I could actually break it loose with the ratchet. That one was a son of a bitch to get. Good luck on that one. So now that we got all the bell housing bolts, I just left the bottom two just to hold it there while I get the crossmember off. So we gotta take these bolts out here right underneath the crossmember, and then there's 4, I believe, to the frame on either side. And to get those, you gotta put a wrench right there and then come in. There's a couple frame holes here, and you gotta get a socket in there. You can see the bolt in there. So that's how we'll get the crossmember off. These are 15 millimeter. Alright, so we have all 8 of our crossmember bolts out, as you can see. And as you saw, they're pretty easy to get to. There's 4 holes in your frame. Just put an impact in there and hold it from the other side. Yep. Alright, so there's a crossmember. These are 5/8, guys. Alright guys, so there's the transmission out of the truck as promised. It was a very dirty job, as most transmission jobs normally are. So the plan now is I'm going to rebuild that transmission myself. We're going to do all billet shafts, refresh everything, and I'm going to be using that transmission in my Fummins build. So stay tuned, subscribe for more videos. Thanks for watching.